don't you know? Trapped in Canada, eh? I'm so sorry to all the Canadians and everyone who had to listen to that, but I'm trapped again, this time in Canada. Hey everybody, if you don't know how Trapped works, I am here in EPCOT and I can't leave the Canada Pavilion until I finish a series of tasks set out by my producer. If I can't complete a task, I have to do a punishment and I have to finish all of them before I can leave. I have no idea what's about to happen, but I do know there will probably be maple syrup. I know there'll be fun tips, tricks, snacks. Let's get to it. Trapped in the land of maple syrup and hockey and the roses, my favorite Canadian export. Show us a secret white noise machine. I feel like I can hear it. Is it over there? I think it's over. I was gonna say it's the waterfall, but now I think it's over there. I can literally hear white noise. Is it the waterfall? That's an actual waterfall. I do know Disney loves to have white noise and background noise. The music often sets the tone for whatever land you're in, and sometimes that means no music or canceling out the music so you don't hear other things nearby. Isn't this pavilion so beautiful? Okay, so my guess is it's the big waterfall then. If it's not going to be the little waterfall, my guess is the big waterfall is a white noise machine because it's canceling out other noises of EPCOT and it's pretty. My next guess is the waterfall. Is that right?
That's right. There's a generator back there that makes a lot of noise, so they put in a waterfall to mask the noise of the generator.
All right. Next up, something in this pavilion won't grow where it stands now. Won't grow up where it stands now. Something in this pavilion won't grow up. So like a tree? When I hear won't grow up, I think like Peter Pan. I'm gonna say the trees.
That is true because there's a thing. The trees in the Canada Pavilion have to be replaced when they grow because of the horse perspective of the land. They have to be kept small.
So these trees, I was right. So these trees,
I
yeah.
thought you were pointing at
Yeah,
those up
these,
there. Completely.
they replace them because otherwise they're too big. Yeah, they're only this tall. Like they didn't start at the ground. No. They started right there and they're only this tall. But if they get much bigger, they'll throw off how big this mountain and waterfall are supposed to feel. Disney loves force perspective, which is when you build something, you make it smaller and smaller and smaller at the top, but you keep the scale correct so it looks much bigger than it is. This is how they made Main Street USA. This is how they make the castle. How they make pretty much any big structure is done using force perspective. And these trees would throw it off completely. All right. Canadian comedy pop quiz. Oh boy, this is where I go downhill. Which Canadian comedian started their career writing for Roseanne? Howie Mandel, Jim Carrey, Mike Myers. Are all those people Canadian? They are. Gosh, Canada has... I'm gonna say Howie Mandel. Which two comedians were at Second City, Toronto in the same 1974 class? I'm gonna say Eugene Levy and Catherine O'Hara because I want the Roses, Johnny and Moira, to be together forever. And who else was in that class? Dan Aykroyd, Martin Short, or John Candy? I'm gonna say John Candy.
All right, number one is actually C, Mike Myers.
Oh, wow.
They were there together.
Long live the Roses.
And yes, John Candy was in that class with them.
Yay! Punishment time. Let's see what happens here. Craft yourself a Moira Rose wig and wear it for the rest of the day and talk like her wherever you can. You know what? I've avoided crafting for the last two traps, but it's time. It is time. Moira Rose has hair of many colors. I just had purple hair. I kind of miss it, so maybe I should do a color. She also loves like a black, dramatic, angular cut. But I'm thinking specifically, she has this one pink wig that's like very, like it's like a bob and it's like straight across bangs. And I think I'm gonna try and do that. This is it. You should still touch their hearts, but you have to make their sounds for them. My amazing producer is taking me somewhere on a little adventure, a journey, a quest through the glorious landscapes of Canada. I don't know as many words as Moira Rose. I'm excited to take you to the place I like to call the place I currently am. The town I currently reside in. Oh, are you gonna make me make animal noises because of these things?
Yes.
Okay. So we're at the DVC kiosk here, and it says, touch the heart of each animal to hear the sounds of Canadian wildlife. Each thing, oh, okay, the bear is strength, the eagle's courage, the wolf is freedom, and the owl's wisdom. But what I'm sensing is they don't work. Okay.
Roar!
I have another obligation, another challenge at hand. Show us where real tools that are actually used and stored. I do believe I know this answer. I believe it's that shed. As we journey together through these bountiful blooms here in Canada, you will notice a quaint little cabin in the back here of the gardens, and I believe that to be a real place where they store gardening tools for EPCOT, the experimental prototype community of tomorrow. It's just a little baby shed where they house tools. This is correct.
Correct. That's actually a working storage shed.
Well, garden tools in there. Sorry, I'm just trying to see out of my wig. I think these gardens are one of the prettiest things in Olive World Showcase. They are this beautiful all year long. Even though it's the Flower and Garden Festival right now, these are like this all the time. They're absolutely stunning. Great photo. Definitely come back in here. I do believe they still are always changing the colors based on what's fresh and in bloom. I went on the Flower and Garden tour one year with my mom, and they basically said if it doesn't look good, they rip it out. Like, they have no budget basically for gardening as opposed to a normal human being. So yeah, they do change it and make it look beautiful and fresh with the seasons. All right, back to challenges. No more punishments for now, at least. What does the red telephone box represent in this pavilion? It's up there. All right, let's go find the beautiful crimson telephone space. One might be surprised that there are the red telephone booths here, because that's traditionally thought of as a United Kingdom thing. Let's see if I can guess or make up something convincing for why these would be red. Okay, I'm gonna guess three things. They are red because of Canada and the United Kingdom's friendship. They are red because the Canadian flag is red. Or they are red because Turning Red, the hit Pixar film, takes place in Canada.
Well, it's definitely not the third one.
Well, it should be, because that movie's awesome, but...
It's not the second, and it's really not the first either.
Okay.
But this is really cool.
I'm ready.
Okay, come stand here and look out. And to the right, you have this building, which is a famous building that represents French Canada.
Okay.
And to the left, you have architecture that represents English Canada, including the red phone booth.
Oh, that is so neat. All right, I have to do another punishment. This is not going well. Perform the inscription on the Victoria Gardens plaque as if you're an over-the-top travel host from the 1980s. I'm going to bring Moira back for this one. Okay, there are two plaques describing these beautiful gardens, so I'm headed to read one. Also, common misconception, I also thought this, that these were called the Victoria Gardens because they are named after actual gardens in Canada, in Victoria, but they're not. And I will now explain to you what they're actually themed after. Inspired by the spectacular Butchart Gardens of British Columbia, these gardens are a reflection of horticulture as a work of art and a labor of love. Much like my film, The Crows Have Eyes 3, The Crowaning. Okay, let's see if I can... I don't have a ton left, but I am not... My record on this episode is not great. Show us where you used to be able to buy maple syrup pie. Oh, is this where also you could buy beaver tails? Back in the day when this pavilion first opened, they had more treats than they do now.
What's your guess?
My guess is in there where Kid Cod is.
No,
or my second guess is where the poutine is sold now.
I'm sorry, it's neither.
Or the merchandise shop. Or the popcorn cart. No. I'm just gonna list everywhere in the pavilion.
No, Lacelia used to be a cafeteria.
Oh no! Instead of a beautiful, glorious steakhouse?
Yes.
Okay, well I'm gonna just, right there then. But I'll take it. Text Duckfist and tell him you know Canada is real because you're standing in the Canada Pavilion in Epcot. Oh, he will be thrilled. So the reason that this is happening is because on a recent episode of RTT, Duckfist said he didn't think Canada was real because there's no way that a place that's full of maple syrup, bears, and polite people can be anything but a fantasy land, and he refuses to believe that it's real because otherwise he'll just be mad he doesn't live there.
I sort of don't believe in Canada as a concept. No place is this friendly.
Dear Duckfist, because that's definitely what I call him. He's one of my best friends in the world, and I only refer to him as Duckfist, not his real name ever. Dear Duckfist, how are you? Eh? I want you to know that Canada is in fact real because I'm there right now. And I'm sure he'll appreciate that message.
Oh, I got a text message from Molly. Dear Duckfist, how are you, eh? I want you to know that Canada is in fact real because I'm there right now. XOXO, Molly. And she included a photo. Forget Canada. What is that hat on your head?
Okay, another task. Who knows? Maybe I'll get through this one. Seems like no. Oh, gosh. Grand Trunk Railway President Charles Melville Hayes died in the Titanic. What does this have to do with the Canada Pavilion? Well, I know a lot of stuff about the Titanic. I know, like, an immense amount of information about the Titanic. I was obsessed with it as a child, and I don't mean the movie. I mean, like, the actual ship. I was just at my mother's house, and in my childhood bedroom, there are, no lie, 27 books about the Titanic on my bookshelf. Also books about horses, Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, and Disney. So I am the same as I was as a child. Anyway, it was also recently the 110th anniversary of the sinking of the Titanic, which is wild. But what does Charles Melville Hayes have to do with it? That he's buried in Canada, one, because a lot of people that died on the Titanic are buried in Canada, including they recently found, I believe in Nova Scotia, a headstone that said J. Dawson on it, and everybody freaked out thinking Jack Dawson from the movie is a real person, but he wasn't. But so that's my first thing, is that he's buried in Canada, because he's Canadian. I also think, this is a swing, but there was a gentleman on the Titanic, and they talk about it in the book A Night to Remember, which came out in, I believe, the movie came out in the 50s, I think, of this book, and it was like one of the most detailed accounts of what happened on the Titanic. There was a gentleman in the first class lounge smoking those cigars, having that brandy, and he said, like an hour before it hit the iceberg, had a prophecy moment where he said the trend of building bigger and bigger ships is this is dangerous, we're playing fast and loose, and it's going to end in disaster. And like an hour later, the Titanic hit the iceberg. So my guess is that was him.
That is him.
That was him!
Yes, wildly.
Wow. I bet he felt dumb or smart. Either way.
He is buried in Canada.
Okay.
So you've technically gotten this answer correct. But
there's more.
There is more. Actually, the most interesting part, why it relates specifically to this pavilion.
Okay.
So you've gotten it right, but let's go on a little adventure.
Okay. Okay, so upon further Charles Hayes research, I have learned that the reason specifically that he was on the Titanic was to attend the opening of the Chateau Laurier Hotel, which this building is built after, because with his railroad tycoon money, he funded this hotel. It was his hotel. He was trying to attend the grand opening and then died on the Titanic. Bonus Titanic fun fact. Did you know that Hershey, as in the man who invented the chocolate bar, was supposed to be on the Titanic, but he decided to change his ship passing to a different one. So even though he'd paid for his room on the Titanic, he just like lit that money on fire basically and went on a different ship. But we might not have had a chocolate bar without if he had been on the ship he was supposed to be on. Okay. Go to Northwest Mercantile. Find the most expensive, least expensive, and most stereotypically Canadian items. Off we go. I can tell you right now, the Canadian item is going to have maple syrup in it. Northwest Mercantile is the main shop here in Canada, and they sell, you know, clothes, mugs, bears, flannel. Okay, what do I think is going to be inexpensive? I think this bell, $14.99. That's where we're starting for least expensive. I wonder how much these onesies are. $59.99 for the buffalo plaid long johns. Oh, Spirit jerseys. Those are, what are Spirit jerseys these days? $79.99? $79.99? All right. So very cute buffalo plaid Spirit jersey. $79.99 is right now our highest cost. $3.45. We've got a new contender for cheapest thing. It's a maple syrup lollipop. It's just maple syrup. That's it. It says 100% maple syrup. That sounds delicious. This maple sugar is $5.95, so this is still winning lowest. Spirit jersey still winning highest. $9.99. I think we're not going to get lower than the lollipop, but we might go higher than a Spirit jersey. $69.99 for the Sherpa blanket. That's nice. How much is this bear? Sometimes plushes are really expensive. Like if you go to the Germany pavilion, all those Stief plushes are really expensive. $29.99, so he's a normal plush price. Little bear. I don't think we're going to get more expensive than a Spirit jersey. And I don't think we're going to get less expensive than the maple lollipop. So, now, to find the most stereotypical Canada item. Now, I had said I assumed it would include maple syrup, but now one of the other things included maple syrup. I think the answer has to be this. This lovely, can be yours for $24.99 t-shirt of a hockey player with his tooth knocked out. And I would love it if anyone from actual Canada to weigh in the comments and tell me if I've chosen correctly. It's a dreamland in here with all this syrup. Think of all the breakfast platters I could pour all this on. Oh, delish. Wait, I want to point out that this shirt is made by Grimm, proudly Canadian, and it says there's a lot of things to be serious about. We're not one of them. Who the heck made this? Grimm, a Canadian that prefers to act her shoe size than her age, turned doodles from university into her artwork. This is great. Good job, Canada. I appreciate that attitude. You might realize I'm also someone who doesn't take themselves too seriously, so it's more fun now. All right, let's see. There's only a few left. This used to be fake, but now they're real. Okay, I know exactly what this one is. Okay, I absolutely know the answer to this because when this pavilion first opened, only this totem pole was real, and it was carved like on stage for guest enjoyment by an artist with the last name Boxley, who does totem poles. So this one was real, and these were fiberglass, but since they have been replaced, and these are also real totem poles. Two more. My luck, I'll have to do a punishment for both. Find a reference to an old EPCOT, aka Best EPCOT, landmark that was outside of this pavilion. So a reference to something not in this pavilion. Understood. Does it say like Horizons Forever somewhere?
It's not. I wish it was Horizons. It's something else this time.
Okay, I'm gonna look around for a second. Like 80s Epcot, I presume, knowing who wrote this. Oh, bonus though. That says Canadian National Hotels. That's cool. That to continue our little tale from the other one. Okay. Is it that? The Odyssey Center? My producer's over here crying because of the phone. Kids, listen up. This is a phone. This is what phones used to look like. They were attached to the wall. You couldn't just walk around willy-nilly with it. And sometimes you had to pay for it. But this is a courtesy phone, so you could just pick it up and call whoever you wanted. Now, the fact that it says Odyssey Center is what the old school notification is. Even though the Odyssey building technically still exists, it's where the Epcot experience is. Nothing's there right now. Baby care's on the backside. But yeah, I would say an old courtesy phone. What was in the Odyssey Center originally?
A restaurant.
A restaurant. May it rest. Find the year that George Vancouver started the expedition that explored and charted what is now known as the Canadian province of British Columbia. Was it 1790?
Yes. Yes, it was.
Well, friends, I've completed all my tasks and I've officially escaped Canada. Let us know where you want to see me be trapped next. In the meantime, friends, go check out Trapped Mexico, and it's been magical, eh? You expect me to be trapped in the Canada Pavilion and not eat maple popcorn all day?